we're still waiting for it all to register
Oh, I
that we're
see it.
on.
Oh, I'm seeing it's
Yay,
telling me
we're
live, so
live.
I'm good.
I'm trying to get the Instagram to go live. There we are. And now we're live. Live, live. Everybody's live. Okay, cool.
Are you live on Facebook? Because I'm not. Oh, there you are. Okay.
Yeah, we're going to be there. There we are. Hey, look. Hi, everybody. Well, welcome. Welcome.
Because I'm not. Oh, there you are. Okay.
Can you
Oh,
hear?
hang on. I'm talking.
Reverberating?
Okay.
Well, welcome to the show, everyone. Welcome to, we're going to talk about metabolic syndrome and Alzheimer's. And we're more than an excited group to be together with us because uh, we're so excited because, well, several things. We're all together less than a week ago at the first convention in North America, and there was 3,000 of us in Orlando, because we also were a month before, so that we were in Miami, so starting to get confused. And then a few weeks from now, I'll be in Las Vegas. Do we ever work anyway? So and no, then the company actually, yeah, then the company actually bought out a cruise ship, and for just our group, for probably under 1,000 people, but they're from around the world.
Yep.
And we're on the ship, and all about metabolic health. So we're in the airport right now, and if you hear calls for flights and stuff, that's what the
That's
background noise
why.
is. Yeah. So I don't have microphones on here today, so we're sorry about that. But we're going to be talking about. We're just so happy. I mean, I'm just going to tell you, everybody that's watching this, and when you catch this later. Um, but we're going to be talking about a serious condition. We're going to talk about metabolic health as it refers to and deals with your brain. Now, that may be Alzheimer's. It may be, for some of you that are watching this, as simple as brain fog. I don't know if any of you have ever experienced brain fog, but part of my story, I'm just going to go real quick on my story, was a year ago. My blood was so bad. My A1C after it was tested was 18.1, which means that 18% of my red blood cells was sugar, was glycated sugar. And so, what's that mean? Well, it means that I would stop mid sentence and I'd be forgetting words. It meant that what the real big thing was happened to me was one day I got in my car to go off and do an auditing project, and I made 5 trips, not even a quarter of a block to a stop sign, and came back. I did it 5 times because I forgot my phone. Then I forgot a bag. And I forgot my drink. And I forgot my coat. And I forgot what else I forgot. But 5 times. I mean, have you ever walked into a room and forgot why you walked in there? Or have you ever um, forgot where you put your keys or your
Park your
phone,
car.
park your car? Yeah, literally. Or you go to a store and you forgot what you're supposed to buy, so you buy a bunch of stuff. You get home and then oh shoot, I forgot to get. Oh, I wanted butter. So yeah, those are all signs of brain that we call brain fog, but those are all signs of early Alzheimer's. That means, and why? It's because your brain is being starved because you're eating too often. We have too much blood sugar, and the insulin cannot get it out of the system. And if it can't get it out of the system because the cells are blocking it, they're starving. Your brain cells are actually starving. So that's part brain fog. And Alzheimer's is really that on steroids. And so when we start talking about it, and one of the things that a lot of people don't know is that, and I know I'm going to get some pushback on this, but you've heard that Alzheimer's is because of plaque. Okay, Alzheimer's is because of plaque and tangles. That research has been proven to be totally fraudulent and not true.
Mhm.
It was made, it was there, and in essence got called to it. And what it did is allowed the pharmaceutical companies to make drugs and profit to the billions. Now, when someone has Alzheimer's and they do an autopsy, there will be there will be plaque, but not always. Not always. But there will be plaque and there will be tangles. But that is there, but that's not a cause. Just like if you ever been to a house that was burning, have you ever seen a house on fire and there's the red trucks out front? Did the red trucks cause the fire? No, they're just there. They're just there. And the same thing with plaque and tangles in some of the proteins. So there's different kinds of things, and yes, they're present, but that isn't the cause. The causation, as we are learning more and more by way of Dr. Benjamin Bickman, the leading metabolic researcher in the world, Dr. Robert Luswig, Jason Fung, and others, we're finding out that insulin resistance is the root cause, as well as a decrease in cholesterol. Now, people say, well, no, cholesterol is bad. No, cholesterol is only bad because you've been told it's bad. Let me ask this question, guys. How much of how much cholesterol does your body make that your body needs? How much does it make? 80%. So if God has your body making it, why would you want it decreased? You wouldn't. I mean, God's pretty smart. And if he said I'm going to make 80% of what you need and you can eat the rest. And then if you want to verify that, go look at the blue zones. What's a blue zone? A blue zone is the places in the world where people live the longest. The places in the world where people live the longest also have the highest levels of cholesterol. Back to what it used to be acceptable. At one time, a 300 level of cholesterol is totally acceptable. Why has that number continued to come down as to what's acceptable? Because big pharmaceutical companies have more drugs to lower it, because they can get more drugs and lower your cholesterol. They have a reason to sell it. Same thing as what's the best blood pressure? If we go on ask kids in grade school, what should your blood pressure be? They're going to tell you 120 over 80. I mean, you learned that when you're in grade school, didn't you? 120 over 80. Now they're starting to say what? Well, under 110. Like why? Because they have more powerful drugs. So the part of the lesson here is we need to learn how to question some of these things. So I've gone through the whole idea of brain fog, right? I mean, I forgot sentences. I would divert a conversation to the left or the right because I forgot what I was going to finish. I don't have that issue now. You all know I don't shut up much, do I? But the one thing is that brain fog is an early sign of your brain is starving. And that's one of the things we want people to take away from this event is that metabolic syndrome of the brain is reversible, it is preventable, and it is improvable. Now, it's up to you. If you have any of these symptoms and signs, you have the control to do those things. Part of the thing that's happened in our modern day food environment is we simply eat too often. We never let our body, our system relax. We never let insulin come down because we're always put more fructose into it. We're elevating our blood sugar constantly. We're spiking and spiking and spiking. And so the only time our body gets to rest with insulin is when we shut our mouths and don't eat no more. right? And if you take a cup of ice cream right before you go to bed, that's going to make it another 2 to 4 hours before you get rid of that. Some popcorn and a soda, a little M&M. I just had George. I just had a couple pretzels. I didn't eat the whole bag. I just had a couple. If you swallowed it, it's there, and nothing. You can't burn fat until that's gone. You can't turn on fat burning until that's gone. So that's some of my story, a personal story in terms of really concerned. And yeah, I'm 74 now. I had my birthday with my best friends. But I'm 74, and my brain clarity has never been better in the last couple decades. I mean, I can tell you that for sure. And I don't have blurry vision. My hair's not falling out. I mean, a gazillion different things are going right with that. And the last thing, well, before I will just go in, I'll just get through mine, and we'll just keep yakking. Is that when you start looking at Alzheimer's, and we start looking at some of these issues, I'm going to let Cheryl talk here real quick. And Cheryl's going to tell you a little bit of her story. And so take it away, Cheryl.
Okay, I'm an identical twin. We were mirror twins, what they call mirror twins. I'm on the right here, and she's on the left. We were about 5 years old here. Maybe we weren't even that old, I don't know. But we were always together. Mirror twins, that god awful picture. You always have to show that.
I do. See, there you are. Okay, we'll skip that one. Okay.
And this one is like the other one's like 8th grade. Pudgy little girls. And this was taken at a wedding. I'm on the right, and she's on the left. And this, I'm on the right, she's on the left. And a lot of pictures that we are in, we would automatically go to the side we felt more comfortable. So I'd be always on the right, she'd be on the left. But I think the reasoning for that is a lot of times the mirror twins, one's right hand and one's left. Well, in my growing up era, that was like a no-no, and they would change you to right-handed if you were left, and that's what happened to her. So I think that's why, I felt more comfortable on the right. She always felt more comfortable on the left. But, yeah.
So then this.
And then this. 54 years old. Diagnosed with early onset Alzheimer's. She passed when she was 61.
Wow.
This picture was taken. Now she's on the right, I'm on the left, but that's how the photographer, put us. But we had a whole album taken right after she was diagnosed, and I'm so thankful for that. So thankful. She eventually got to where she couldn't, because she was a wonderful cook. She couldn't cook. She couldn't even put makeup on. She had to have help dressing. She couldn't pick out her clothes. And it just went downhill from there. And she was starting, her husband took very good care of her, but it got to the point she was getting kind of violent. And so her last year of her life, she had to spend in a nursing home in the Alzheimer's locked unit, basically. And I love this picture. And we were so close. We would finish each other's sentences. We would think alike. We'd show up at the same function with the same outfit on, although we didn't buy them at the same place or at the same time. And she just deteriorated where, we used to get together. She had a huge kitchen, me and my daughter, she and her daughter, her daughter was 16 when her mom was diagnosed with Alzheimer's. And so we'd get together in their big kitchen and we'd bake cookies. We'd take our own ingredients, we'd, do all that stuff. And we'd all bake. Then we would put them on a big table and then we'd, each take different types of, the cookies that other people would make. But the last time we did that, she was struggling. She would dump something in, and she couldn't remember how much she had put in. She'd have to dump it out and start over, and she said, "I can't do this." So that was the last year we actually did that. We used to have a lot of fun doing that. We were so identical. My dad couldn't tell us apart unless we had our kids or our husbands. Our kids from day one, they knew who was who. I remember when her daughter was born, she just got home from the hospital and I went out there and she was kind of fussy. So I picked her up and she knew right away I wasn't her mom. She didn't settle down until I handed her back to her mom. She knew.
Now, when you found out and that you get pretty involved with Alzheimer's Association,
got very involved with the Alzheimer's Association. Her daughter and I got very involved, and they were very interested in us because we were identical twins, and I didn't have it or hadn't been diagnosed yet, and so far I haven't been. Thank God. And but they were very interested in us. And there was a lot of articles written about us in flyers in Alzheimer's Association information. And they asked me to go to Washington, D.C. to the National Alzheimer's Convention and do a speech. And she went with me. She was still, she said, had to still have help with a lot of stuff. Like the luggage and stuff she couldn't help with. And then when we went through security, she got stopped. And I thought, oh God. And the girl that was going to take her over to the side, I said, I can't be away from her. She's got Alzheimer's. And so she said, okay, I'll wait. And that scared me half to death because I thought if she gets away from me, she's not going to know what to do, where she's at. And so that was kind of scary. But I gave a speech. I hated speech class in high school. I just hated it. But when I actually sat down to write the speech, it just flowed out of me. It was something that was so dear to my heart and, what was happening. And it just flowed. And I don't even remember how many. There was over 300, 400 people at the convention. And they actually gave me a standing ovation.
What would you tell people if they have a loved one that develops? What advice would you give somebody?
Well, a lot of people don't know that this is a killing disease, but it is. They think you just forget things and go on with your life. But no, that's not true. Everything shuts down. Everything. Swallowing, everything. And I say there's no cure, but I am on this stuff, unicity, just because I want to help prevent anything, and so far, as far as my memory, I haven't seen a lot of difference, but I had a Pap's test, I had hysterectomy in 2016, and it was preventative. I didn't have cancer or anything, but it's because my Pap's tests were not showing up right. So every 6 months since the hysterectomy, I've been having Pap's tests. They're still not showing up right. I started this in March of this year, and my last Pap's test was in July, and it was clear. I was amazed. So hopefully,
There we go. Great. So. Good. Jennifer, what's going on in your world?
Well, hello, everybody. I am a caregiver for my mom and dad. And George is there she is. This is a picture of my loving grandmother, Helen. My grandmother passed away from Alzheimer's when I was roughly around 14 years old. My grandmother was the light of the family. She was an avid baker, so much so that she had the tins that she'd make of cookies that she'd put in her closet. So when we came to visit, she could always pull out a tin. Very loving, very caring. When we found out that she had Alzheimer's, now my grandfather was a little bit older than her, had his own health concerns. My grandmother started to wander. And when you have a little 5 foot woman and her husband is 6 something, and she comes up missing, grandma would take paper bags and put random items in it, and she was going somewhere. Along the journey of that, since I was only there on holidays because I lived in a different state, uh, she had fallen and broken her hip, and then had to be moved to assisted living, and became like very much like Cheryl's sister. My grandmother became somewhat violent for someone who could be violent in a wheelchair. Tried to push my 6 foot something uncle out a window. Didn't know who anybody was anymore. She thought I was her daughter Karen. She thought my father David was her husband Lawrence. And my grandmother suffered from migraine headaches, like debilitating. Like she would sit in her chair and she would rock. And that sadly is one of the last memories I have of my grandmother, is her sitting in a wheelchair in a nursing home and just holding onto her head and swaying like this. If I
And
would
now
have
we
known
know,
that, I'm
yeah,
sorry.
now you know what about that?
I know. Thankfully, I know. So now I can help other people, such as my parents, when they're willing, that there is a simple system that could have made it possible for, oh, George, we're going straight to it. Excuse me. That maybe could have made it less traumatic for my grandmother when she passed. If I wish I knew way back then what I know now. Um, but now, I obviously can't go back in time and help my grandma through that. But being a caregiver of my mother, her daughter, my mother was diagnosed with mild cognitive decline, has a lot of other health issues. We just recently spent the last weekend in the hospital because she needed to have 2 blood transfusions because her hemoglobin was 6 when she went in. But my mother is also on the simple system. Uh, doesn't drink 2 teas and a full fiber at a time. She drinks 1 tea a day and does half a packet of fiber at each meal. I've been working on changing her food order by eating fiber first, then proteins and fats, and carbs at the end. My mother is very much a junk food junkie, loves her pretzels. But I've noticed, even with the difference in how we take the system, that she's not getting as many headaches. Um, I've come to learn personally that her restless leg syndrome is also caused by insulin resistance. And I've been educating her as we're going on this journey together. My father also went to a neurology visit and also was given the diagnosis of cognitive decline. Now, with my father, he is actually on 2 Alzheimer's meds. And the neurologist said that those meds are keeping him where he is because he has short-term memory loss. And that if he wasn't on those meds, he would have already progressed further. Um, dad when I ask, would you like to, and my tea is in a cup, so would you like the tea or your medication? Because my dad is pre-diabetic and loves his sugar and will not sway from that. I'll take my pills. So it's kind of a balancing act in my house because I have one that doesn't like taking pills, which is my dad, and I have one that takes too many. Likes to do preventative action. So the thing that I've learned for myself on this journey with George and his lovely Cheryl is that, my brain fog is gone. I have more mental clarity. And being a caregiver, that is one of the most important things I can have because I put my health last. I was, on anxiety medication, sleeping medication. I had high cholesterol. I dealt with I'm postmenopausal, so I've dealt with those issues. All of those things have been reversed. I have more energy, and the greatest gift you can get is when a loved one tells you, you are so much happier now. Amongst the chaos that is my life, my mother was the one that said she noticed a difference in me, which is the most gratifying feeling because I didn't know I was any less happy or happier. But one last thing, George, and then I'll stop talking. I recently did a walk to end Alzheimer's in Boca Raton, Florida. The same weekend we had the convention in Orlando. And I walked in memory of Cheryl. I walked in memory of your sister, in memory of my grandmother. And then I also walked in honor of Ms. Guthrie in Virginia and Carol in California.
Thank you.
So, absolutely. And on my walk, as I looked at these hundreds of thousands of people, I kind of felt like the lone wolf, only because I know that there is a way. And unfortunately, a lot of people were walking in memory of. So, if you have a loved one or a family member, a friend, reach out to any of us on this call because we've all been affected by this, and there still is hope. And it doesn't necessarily have to be a tic tac that you take.
Yeah, and you're exactly right. So I started with telling a little bit about my own story, about my brain fog, and how I've been able to reverse that. This picture is my mom, our mom. I'm the oldest of 10. You can see the squad there. I'm the oldest of 10, and I'm the patriarch of our family. And this is at my mother's. This was 10 years ago when she was inducted into a Sports Writers Hall of Fame. She's now in She's in 3 different Hall of Fames for things she did for youth. She has a Jefferson Award. Our mom, at age 51, after 10 of us out into high school, we're all in the college. At 51, she goes back to college. At age 56, is a PhD RN. Now, I only have 14 years of college. What the heck do I know? But this is our mom. Now, here she is. She's 96, and she has Alzheimer's. And I know, without any reservation, just like Jennifer said, I know that if I had known about this 10 years ago, she would not be in this condition. And she wouldn't be. But our family is such a strong unit that she's in her own home. We have a niece that is our boots on the ground 24/7. She lives with her, which she's paid. We have respite for our caregiver niece twice a week. We have hospice that's respite for everybody. And every month, at least one of us is there for a period of time with mom. So that's how strong a unit we are. So there's not a question about the unity within our group. And caregiving is huge. But if we had known what we know now, I mean, she wouldn't be in this position. Now, Alzheimer's is reversible to some degree. And it's more and more proven with more and more research. Almost every month there's another article of research that proves that people's lifestyle and dietary changes, not the meds, dietary changes and lifestyle improves their cognitive ability, their health, and everything else. It's also reversible and it's also preventable. And what I mean by that, guys, my mantra is food got us into this mess and food will get us out.
Mhm.
It's really simple as that. We eat our way in, we can eat our way out. And therein lies part of it. As long as lifestyle behaviors, motion, movement, sleep, you know, Cheryl's sister ate identical to pretty much identical to Cheryl and did it yesterday and tomorrow and good
Yeah.
cook. And so, but stress is a real issue. Cortisol, lack of sleep, again, those are contributing factors
Mhm.
to metabolic health. So those are things that would need to be considered. Now, Andrew and Benita are on here, and they don't necessarily have direct stories with Alzheimer's, but they've got some great stories, and we're going to give them a couple, 3, 4, 5 minutes to just say what's gone on in their world. Where are you at, guys? What's going on
Well,
with you? World?
yeah, I mean, just even to follow up with what you're saying, George, is we were caregivers to Andrew's grandfather when he was 94. And he had lived with type 2 diabetes for decades. And had I understood how to leverage insulin and really understand how insulin affects every single cell in our body the way it does, I truly know that the seizures and the neurological decline that he suffered in end of life, and yes, it was short lived, but it was all stemmed from the brain and the sugar that was in the brain that led to his last short 6 weeks of just geriatric decline. Like he had a seizure, he went in the hospital, he came out, he went back in, he was like on hospice within 4 weeks and gone. Like
Mhm.
I know that probably stemmed from all of the buildup of decades of dealing with diabetes. His diabetes finally just became so uncontrollable that it just washed through. And the first place it showed up was his brain and the last. So even just hearing these stories and knowing that in my 40s, paying attention to this is going to give me the best opportunity that I have to be here for my kids and to go back to college and to be here for grandkids, but to do something that provides for others, not just for myself. Because if I care for myself, I can care for others. So thank you guys for sharing those stories because we need each other. We literally are the caregivers of the future and we need to be strong because there's going to be a lot to care for. And so if others can join us and be strong with us, we are going to build a network and a community that will be powerful. No doubt about it.
Exactly. And like if you hear Megan's story, Megan's story about her mom
Mhm.
at 50, just kind of like
Mhm.
Cheryl's sister, and and passed. And Megan was on the same path before she got on the protocol. I mean, they were
Yeah.
planning to budget care for Megan.
Mhm.
So it's a huge thing.
So, Jennifer, you'd mentioned something about restless leg syndrome.
Yes.
So it's kind of funny because since I've been on the protocol, I haven't had to take my gabapentin, and I've been able to sleep through the night and sit. You know, one of the worst things was we'd go to a movie, and I always had to sit on the aisle because I had to have my legs out in the aisleway, or else I couldn't stand to be in the movie. And I haven't had um, any restless leg syndrome. I mean, I've had a lot of different improvements that I haven't heard a lot of people talk about, but that's one that you brought up that I think it has links to more than just restless legs.
Mhm.
I haven't done a lot of research on it, but um, I know I don't have to be medicated for it anymore.
Yeah.
Especially with gabapentin. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I was on
Yeah.
gabapentin for about 13 years.
Wow.
Yeah. And testosterone and a CPAP, and I'm not using any of those. Oh, and allergies. I haven't had any allergies since I started the protocol.
Yeah, he hasn't taken Benadryl and Allegra and Zyrtec like he was popping Tic Tacs, right?
And I
Right.
wasn't just
I
taking Claritin, I was taking Claritin D because it was the only one that really helped. I had to have a decongestant with it or else it just didn't work. And I haven't had an allergy pill since I started the protocol.
What was your blood pressure? Were you having blood pressure issues when you're
No, I mean
taking
it
the
wasn't
D?
great, but it wasn't bad. I was in the like 130 over 70 range.
But now his blood pressure is way better. Like, and it even gets all those notifications on his watch, like your resting heart rate has improved dramatically.
That's I mean that's one thing that I didn't even know my watch did that kind of stuff, right? My heart rate recovery is like down like 20%. And yeah, in the good way. And then my walking heart rate has gone down like at least 10%.
In a good way too.
Yeah. So it's really
Just
it's really cool to see all of these improvements in my health. And
Mhm.
what's really sad is we were kind of the healthy ones. Everybody's like, "Oh, you guys look great." And then we found the protocol and really looked in the mirror and realized, "Wow, we're not doing so great. We might be doing great in the people that are often around us."
Mhm.
Um, but I mean, I look at my before and after picture. I mean, losing 52 pounds it's crazy. And it wasn't all fat. I mean, a lot of it was inflammation.
Mhm.
Yeah, you lost a third of you. I bet some of your kids don't even weigh that much.
Oh no, I was at 225
Okay.
and I'm just below 170 and I am still the heaviest one in the house.
But that's all the
wait,
muscle you've put on, correct?
well, we're
Um,
hoping. I keep teasing him about it. I'm
yeah,
like, it's time to start.
I need to start working on that too, but it's one step at a time. I
But
need to still make sure I'm getting my sleep.
oh, absolutely. My newest thing, since I don't do a whole lot of physical workout type stuff, I do 10 wall push-ups a night so I can sculpt my little potato. That is a big deal for me
Scotch my
because
potato.
if you look at my before picture, I was 161 pounds and horribly round
Yeah,
inflammation face.
Yeah.
And even my arms, that was the first thing everybody noticed. Oh my gosh, your arms are smaller.
yeah.
And I was like,
Jennifer,
they are?
Yeah, Jennifer, Cheryl missed your baby potato. Show Cheryl your potato baby.
Hey,
Your
nice.
baby potato. Your fingerling potato.
I do my wall. There is a gentleman named Ted Falcon who I met at a convention. And this man does his push ups every morning with his Unimate. And I said, when I talked to him, I said, I don't do those because I had a toe fusion, so I can't really put both my toes down that way. But I do wall push-ups. And he's like, "Where's your video? I don't believe you unless you do a video. I'm still working on that video. Got to figure out a way to
Hey,
prop
we
everything
got
up
we
so
got to
I
keep
can do
sharing
my
our
wall
videos.
push-ups."
We can record it. Why don't you do it now?
Yeah, we got you. Go do your wall push-ups. We're recording.
Oh my good grief!
I'm
This is a lot.
teasing.
I'll prepare for tomorrow. How's that? I'll set everything up, and then
All right,
Benita, you call me, and we'll do it.
great guys. So
It was great seeing you, Jennifer, too, at the convention. I didn't get to talk to you much, but it was great seeing you.
I know it was nice to finally meet you guys all in person.
I know.
That was like the coolest thing for me.
It was great seeing all you guys, too. I really enjoyed it.
Well, and that's, one of the things that I really try to convey to other people is this isn't just like an American thing, because insulin resistance is so prevalent throughout the world that there's not a society that's not affected by it. And you don't have to be obese to be insulin resistant.
Mm-mm.
And one of the things that for me, somebody asked me if I was pregnant. So I knew immediately that like my girth just
Oh.
around my belly, like even though everything else looked healthy, it was literally telling a story that was different. And so even though I looked healthy from the back, just because my weight was so concentrated in a certain place on my body, that
Mhm.
insulin resistance was controlling the way my body was shaped. And that's huge because that shows up in countries like India and China, where they look smaller because they don't have the obesity that we have in America, but they're still just as insulin resistant.
Mhm.
So it's definitely a worldwide thing. And at convention, you can see that, right? You can see how diverse we are. You can see how many
Right.
people we're touching, how many nationalities, how many different cultures, like, and we're all dealing with the same thing right now.
Absolutely. Yep. Absolutely. So, well, anyway, guys, we've got a flight here that we're kind of getting ready to get on to. So, we're going to cut this a little bit short tonight. But Jennifer, I'm so proud of you. You're doing magnificent as a caregiver. You're doing extraordinarily well for your health. You're helping others beyond your family, the reach that you're doing. You're touching lives around the world. So you're doing great. Andrew, Benita, I mean, you guys are a joy. You guys, it was just, you're just a joy, a delight. And always positive, always caring, always giving, always sharing. So, and my dear, her birthday party is going to be on the 22nd. So anybody is
Next Saturday, anybody wants to come to Illinois, they're welcome.
yeah, come celebrate this one's 8th decade.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's impossible, but
So
Amazing.
anyway, so guys, thank you very much for coming on. I'll see you all in the morning.
Thanks
Yes.
for having
Okay.
us.
Yeah.
Adios.
everybody.
Thanks.
Safe travels.
Bye.
Yeah.
Thanks. All right. All right. And stream, and stream, and stream. Now go here and stream. Go over here and that. Go there. Go there. I turn all this off. It's the goofiest thing ever.